this time. Welcome. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Say hi. Tell me where you're coming in from. Um, I will be waiting for some people to join. I mentioned that I'm going live at 6, and it is 6 exactly right now. So always takes some time for people to join. So if you're watching the replay, um, you can move forward to whenever we're actually going into a conversation, but I will be hanging around for a few minutes. Just waiting for some people to hop on. Welcome. Thank you for joining. How was you guys' Sunday? Did you have a good weekend? What were you guys up to today? Here in Ohio, where I'm at, in close to Worcester, it is very beautiful. It's a little bit chilly yet, in the 40s, 49 currently, and so it's a little bit chilly yet, but the sun is shining. It's warmish. It's nice. The blue skies, I'll take it. It feels a little more like spring than the last days have been crazy with wind and rain and cold and warm, and it's like you doesn't even know what it's doing. So so it feels good to have just a sunshiny day. At services this morning and this afternoon, I went outside for a little bit, did some reading, and just had an easy Sunday. I have kind of my Sabbath on Sunday for me. So it's try to take it easy. Not that I can't do anything, but I just like to make sure that I rejuvenate my mind, rejuvenate my soul, spirit, and get some sunshine and rest and ready for the next weekend. I definitely had that this weekend. Sometimes Saturdays are all over the place as far as my schedule, and it's been crazy busy. So yesterday I was like, I'm gonna be at home today. Hadn't cleaned in a few weeks. I washed my curtains, my living room curtains, hung them out for like 30, 40 minutes, and they were basically dry, and washed my living room rug. I did all of my spring cleaning a number of weeks ago. My family helped me doing spring cleaning, except for we didn't get to the windows. It was dark. It was in February, so got dark and we didn't do any of the windows, and of course I didn't do any of the curtains and the laundry stuff that I have to hang out. So I was glad I could get some of that done. Still have some to do, but it's most of my spring cleaning is done, so that feels good. Spring is always a very busy time for me with cleaning, with house cleaning for my clients. More people want spring cleaning done. On Friday I washed off walls and ceilings and shampooed and all of that. So definitely a busy time for me in the spring. So I was really appreciated that my family was able to help me with spring cleaning and doing my own ceilings and walls and furniture and all of that. Let me know where you're coming in from, and we will just hang around a little bit more before we get into the questions that I posted about mental health in the Amish community, what that looks like, how we can help, and if their separation from the world this makes an impact. So if you have more questions, feel free. Those are the only 3 questions that I have. So if you have more questions, feel free to place them at any point, and I will take note of them and be sure to answer those. Got to visit my sister's school the other week, last week, so that was fun. They actually on Fridays, I guess they dismissed her school's dismisses early, and I did not know that. Most schools don't, and so the students were no longer there. At 2:30 they left, and I got there shortly after, and so but I got to see her schoolhouse and the arts, lots of drawings and paintings, and very creative and a bright, cheery schoolhouse. So I was glad I could do that. Hi Norma from Millersburg, thank you for joining the conversation. If you have questions, did you guys get outside today? let me know in the comments. A thumbs up if you got outside, thumbs down if you didn't. Either way, it is a little bit chilly yet, but it is also so nice, right, if you're in Ohio. I know I have people watching from all over the place, so it's always interesting to see where you guys are from. If you're local, if you're other states, even other countries, some of you guys. It's always interesting to see that. Yay, Norma, you got to go outside. That's good. I read somewhere, and it's true, just being outside for a while can just the effects that has, and I feel it too. Even the more I get outside, the better I feel. And with my cleaning clients, I work outside too, and it is just starting to the point where I am, like last Tuesday I worked outside for about an hour, and it was chilly. Actually, it was very chilly, and I asked for earmuffs because I didn't have any with me. I wasn't used that I'm working outside yet, and I didn't realize it's that chilly. And it felt, I was like, I am so excited, especially if it gets warmer. But even in this weather, I love outdoors, and outdoors helps my mental health so much. And it's not even that I struggle that much with mental issues, but it just makes you feel so good when you get fresh air and warm sunshine on your face. And so I get to work outside quite a bit with my cleaning. I say I clean, I mostly clean, but some places I work outside. I prep meals for a few of them that are getting older and need some help with that. I wash dishes, I do laundry, anything anyone asks of me. So that has been very, very interesting, I could say, just to have a large variety. And I actually really like that, because I like variety. It would drive me crazy to go to a job, 9-to-5 job every day and do the same thing. Like, that would drive me crazy. But so I love that I have variety, and I make my own schedule. That was something that came up quite a bit, is what job I have or what I do. I do in-home cleaning, and I part-time, usually 3 days a week, in-home cleaning, as I said, anything people ask me to do. And the other days I work from home as a health coach, and walking with people in their health. So between those two, my schedule is full always. I could do either one full-time if I would want to, but it really works out, both of them. One is mental, more talking with people, that and it's social. The other one is very physical in working. So I like the two different ones that I have. So for the cleaning, I can shut my phone off and focus on just being in the present and working and getting, because I do need to move my body. If I have enough energy, and if I don't move my body, I don't sleep as well. Like, I need to move my body. So cleaning is hard work, but it feels so good because I want to move my body. My body needs movement, and I get that in working. And then I also go on walks and things like that. I do some exercises on occasion, depending on how much walk, especially if I'm working at home. I have some exercises that I do, stretches. I have weights that I use, and just some stretches and things that I like to do to get moving. So maybe I'll wait another minute or two, and then I will get into the questions that we have for today. If you guys have more questions, feel free to comment them below, and I will get to them. You guys are silent tonight. I know it's later than sometimes. I'm still figuring out a time that works for me. Let me know in the comments what time is a good time for you guys. Any day of the week, probably weekends works the best for me. But let me know. Saturday work best for you guys? Does Sunday work best? Sunday forenoon, I'm always in services, but afternoon or evening. Saturday afternoon, evening, like, let me know what works best for you guys, and I will, yeah, just kind of figuring that out. I feel right now it's been hard to find one consistent time, and I know that it's best if I can find one consistent time. Um, so is there a lot of mental health issues in the Amish community? Um, so I have a number of family that has been, what say, is challenged with mental health issues. It is something that I'm very passionate about. I would say, I haven't had a lot of mental health issues. I've dealt with my share of anxiety and anxiety attacks. I've had nervous breakdowns. But when it comes to, I guess there's so many different types of mental health issues, but I've never really dealt with, say, severe depression or anything. Um, but I am very passionate about it because of my health, my dad's mental health declined. There was a time, when I was sick, and we spent so much money. We didn't have insurance, so we spent so much money, and I just didn't get better. And um, then there were a few other factors in the business and stuff, in my dad's business, that weren't going so well. But within that, my dad's mental health declined to the point where he needed help, like right now. And I blamed it on a big part on myself, because I was like, it's my health. If I would have continued to stay healthy, that wouldn't have happened to Dad, right? But the reality of it was also, I was 16, I was 17, 18, and I'm not responsible for my dad's health, right? But I took that responsibility on me. I knew, I shouldn't have known, but I knew some numbers of the difference that it could have made if I would have been healthy and had a job these years, compared to not having a job and the money we spent. And it's it's it is, it's reality of what it was. But yeah, it really hit my dad's mental health, and he needed to go somewhere for a number of weeks for help. And and for a long time, even, I would say I've worked through it now, but I remember for a long time in the back of my mind, I was still like this is my fault. I took the blame for it because it was me that had that effect. And I am, so it is very common in the Amish community. Whether it's more common than in this culture that I'm in now, which is in the non-conservative culture, I wouldn't say it's more. I wouldn't necessarily even say it's less. I wouldn't, just like off the bat in my own, what I know people, I wouldn't say it's more or less, but my, due to my, with Dad going through that, and then years later I mentioned it, like something about it being my fault when he was struggling. He's struggled with it ever since. And my sister looked me in the eye and she's like, that that was took for Dad to change. And it really opened my eyes to seeing that the culture and where Dad grew up um, is, how could I say, there was a culture that he grew up that was very strict, and there was not much grace, and it was work, 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 and not very relational, I guess I could say, not a lot of love. And my dad has always had a soft heart, but I feel it was, and there was a stigma at one point of not really, like if people went for help, it was kind of a negative stigma. And um, and when Dad, you know, couldn't work and couldn't even help himself, he went for counseling for help, and that was a huge change in him becoming more relational, in him even getting a different picture of who God is. And so it took that to change some of that, like to give him a better perspective of God being a loving God and a God that you can pray with from your heart. You don't have to use a book. And so when my sister just looked me in the eye and she's like, that is what it took to change that, I knew that was the truth. And she was like, and that is worth way more than any money can buy. And that is true. I would agree with that. And that is, I really needed to hear that just to give me peace of mind that there was something very significant, positive that came out of this. And I feel now thankful that God could use me to, get to Dad's heart, but it still makes me sad that it took that. So yes, there is mental, some challenges in the Amish community. It's just as normal as anywhere else. They're human. The cause of it, or I would say some of the, they're in such a different culture. And then the question following up with that was, is shutting themselves off from the world a contributing factor? And I would say to some extent, yes. Yes and no. They shutting the rules that they create, the control that they are under, the bondage that they are under through having a leadership that they need to submit to, or you get excommunicated. Like, that is a darkness, that is bondage, and that is mental bondage. For me, I think I wasn't necessarily depressed, but I was very challenged to stay on top. And I did not know how to work through emotions very healthily. I didn't know what I liked and what I wanted. So I felt very suppressed. And I didn't realize that. Many of them don't realize that. And if I would now, just even the thought of going back to the Amish or in any church where you have to dress a certain way, that would feel so suppressing. So, like, led me suffocating. I get a physical reaction thinking about it. And I think that is, not being able to, and every family is different in this, but I do feel that is a contributing factor, that the fact that they're under this bondage. The question was, is shutting themselves off from the world? Well, the reality of it is, I guess this is just my opinion, I don't feel they are shutting themselves off from the world. They are just as part of the world as we are. They live in a culture, like, they have sins. They do wrong things too, just like we all do. They are human. I wouldn't say that they are shut off from the world. There are many Amish that are of the world. They don't have the fruits of the Spirit. They're not saved automatically because they're Amish. So there's a mixture of worldly people and a mixture of saved people in that culture as well. So I wouldn't say that they are shut off from the world. They are part of the world, but I do feel the question probably is coming some of the bondage and the rules and stuff like that, and not having, television and worldly stuff, or television and things like that. In that way, they do have that bondage that I feel does have an impact. And something that I wanted to mention, let me check the comments and get back to you guys on that. Hi, Sandy. Sunday's work good for you? Great. Awesome. Any particular time here in Wisconsin? I can't wait for warmer weather. Me neither. Hi, Mona. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. Mona, I guess that's right, from New York. Thank you for joining. It's good to see you. Um, I was gonna say something and I lost it just a moment, but yes. But I also want to mention that there are things in my culture now that also challenge my mental health. I'm not in that bondage. I'm not in that um, that others put on me. Like, I don't have that bondage anymore. I don't care what people think, and I'm not part of, like, if I do something, um, then a certain. That's right. That's how you pronounce it. Great. Afternoons are great. Awesome. I have 6 o'clock here now, so yeah, fine, great. There are things in this culture that challenge me as well. So I don't have that depressing. I'm not under a leadership or anyone that if I do this, and then I'm going to be excommunicated as a whole, as a church. So I feel in that way it's a lot more freeing, and I wouldn't change that for anything, okay? That is so freeing and helps my mental health. I would say that challenging part now in this culture is um, I don't have television. I don't watch TV in my house. And being I'm single, and I can now create a lifestyle that I want, okay? So I am totally at my own freedom. But I would say the challenging part now is like social media, wanting, just, excuse me, social media like Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, things like that, just, you know, things, excuse me, that wants our attention, or things that wants to take up so much of our time. Um, excuse me, I have the hiccup. So I would say that it is harder to get outside and get my moving. Having a car, I got in the car in the winter. I notice it for sure in the winter. I got in the car, it's warm in 5 minutes. Head down the road, I come back home, run for the house, it's warm inside. Where, like, you don't strengthen up. Your body doesn't have to anymore. I don't bike nearly as much, even in the summertime. It's so easy to go, you know, go on the to the car and go somewhere. And where I'm living, it's not safe for me to bike into town. So the only place I can kind of bike to is basically church. And even then, it's way too easy. And I do bike occasionally to church in the summer, but it's so easy to just grab take the car and go. So I think we live further from, majority of us live maybe further from town, or we drive 15 minutes isn't far. And then we used to say 15 minutes isn't far, but we couldn't go the distance our 15 minutes is now, right? So I think just that in general is what is my challenge, that I have to be very intentional, is to get outside, to get enough exercise, to not be online too much. Those types of things is now grasping and wanting to get challenge my mental health. So this afternoon I just went outside and felt so good. And Tuesday when I worked outside for an hour, I was like, this is the best. But we're in the Amish culture, we didn't have Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We didn't have any of that. And so those things, we were much more hands-on. If we had spare time, we were reading a book. We were playing games. If I go to my parents 2 weeks ago, I went in a Sunday afternoon. They were there playing. Three of them were doing a puzzle. 3 of them were playing Easy Money, and 2 of them were playing Rook. Like, they had all these games going. The whole Sunday afternoon and evening, they were playing games. And very relaxing, very good for your mental health. So I would say it exchanges a bondage, a darkness bondage, to then having, the liberties, and we take the liberties too much, like it kind of gets our life, or it controls us in our mental health. So in that way, it's different. I would say that what groups for to challenge our mental health is just very different, if that makes sense. And And then how can we help them? That is something that there's so many things. I love helping people with mental health issues, and I'm thankful to have the training and to have the ability to do that. I can sit with people. Um, but how can we specifically help the Amish with mental health? I think it's just kind of like anyone else. It's becoming friends with them, being understanding, loving on them, really listening to them, what they're saying, asking questions and not fixing the problem, but asking questions as to that it helps them think. Um, and a big part of mental health is if people like to really make a difference, people have to want help. And where I come from, at least, they do have places that they can go to for help, and that is awesome. The biggest thing is just people have to want help. People have to want to need, want to need, to need. They need, if they need help, they need to want to get help. Um, so at this point, if you have a circle of Amish friends, like just loving on them, taking an interest in their life, listening, looking them in the eye and making contact, connection, and not just respecting them as we do everyone else, I think can be huge. And it's not all, especially not trying to fix anything. Like I've found it very, very sensitive if you try to tell them what to do, because that is a pain, that will be a pain button for pretty much any Amish. Telling them what to do, uh, it's, and even if they want to be told what to do, because some of them that can't think for themselves, they've always been told what to do. I was always told what I can wear and can't wear. So I wanted people to tell me what to do, because that was easier than making my own decisions. And I think just asking questions and allowing them to think can really make a difference. I've had people do that when I was Amish, like, what do you really think? Or when I was struggling, like, do I want to leave the Amish? What should I do? It was like, well, what do you think God is saying? And allowing space to think, not trying to fix the problem, if that makes sense. I think can be really helpful. And for a big part, we can't fix them we can't fix them. We can't change anyone. We can't fix anyone, but we can love on people. And I think that can be very helpful. Um, I mean, if one thing I know that really brightened my days, if you do get the budget, and if you get any Amish literature, or like the register, probably won't get that. They do put showers in, like, the budget, and for people that are sick. And there were a number of showers in for me over the years, and I got hundreds and hundreds of letters and cards and mail and poems. And that was something that really spoke to me, and that was something that really impacted me, that people from all over the world, people from, well, the United States at least, but people from all cultures didn't know me, but they sat down and sent me a card and a letter or a poem or whatever they sent me. Like, that really touched me. That really went deep. And you can always write about, give hope in a letter. There's so many ways to write a letter that really can bring hope to people. So that would be one way to kind of make an impact. You might not, get a response. I wrote some people back, but hundreds. I couldn't write everyone back. And I really became friends with a lot of people, including most of the girls that also can the English get the budget. Yes, the budget is actually, and not everyone is, like, the budget gets written. A lot of them are Amish, but there's also a lot of non-Amish that write in the budget. I'm thinking you could go to onlinethebudget.com, but I haven't checked it out, so I don't know for sure. Yeah, you can get anyone can get the budget. That is open to anyone. The register is more of a paper that comes every other week, and it has more like where churches are at, and then some showers. So that wouldn't really be interesting even for anyone that, you know, where the church, that was never that interesting to me even. But the budget has a lot of good writing, and I'll need to ask. My sister was planning to write in the budget. I haven't heard recently if that has gone through. She was working in the process of writing in the budget. So if you write in the budget, it's just something to, I don't know, something she enjoys. She enjoys writing. And so if I hear about that, I could give you the information and where it's at, because I don't know which county. They have Worcester address, but they live closer to Apple Creek and Fredericksburg, so I'm not sure what, you know, what's under what column it would be. But yeah, if I hear more about that, I can update you guys on that if you would have an interest. That's a really interesting one. You kind of get a lot of Amish news and stuff in there. So that would be one way to encourage them. If you have neighbors that are Amish and you hear of a need, just offering, like taking over a meal. There's a lot of Amish kind of southwest from me that I don't know, that's from a completely different group from what I grew up with, and so they're very open. And I work out there, and they've made really good friends with some of my cleaning clients. And so when they had a baby, the ones I cleaned for took over a casserole or a meal, and there's quite a bit of, she's like, well, I'm gonna give, you know, so and so this, and it means Amish. So being like giving them stuff, bringing a meal when they have a baby, giving a gift when they have a baby, just useful gift things, baby things. If you hear of a broken bone, or you know, a busy mom will always appreciate a meal, right? And that is if they get to know them, that is something that is usually accepted pretty well. And a new toy, I think even a new toy for the kids. We always have plenty of toys. The very stricter Amish don't have as much toys, and it would depend, you know, what they can allow. We were allowed to have pretty much any toys. But a basic, some kind of toy can just, the kids can play for hours, and it can really help the parents. But when it comes to strictly mental health, it's I would say similar to anyone else. You listen, love on them, care about them, be a friend, and yeah. So if you guys have more questions, feel free to ask more questions. I think that is kind of what I have for today. I'm definitely interested in reading the budget. If you find out how to get it, please let us. Okay, yes, I will make a note of that right away on my check out how to get the budget. And if you want information, why don't you contact me on Messenger, Facebook Messenger, or Instagram. And if I can find a link, I'll put a link in the description about it as well. That way you can find it. But if I don't put a link there, don't hesitate to reach out to me on Messenger or Instagram. Hey Jeffrey. That way we can have a conversation. But I'll try and find the link and link it and see if I can, what I can do there. Sun is coming. Hey there. Feels good. Do you guys have questions? Let me know. You're welcome, Sandy. I used to love to read the budget. I passed many afternoons when I was sick and I couldn't do anything. The budget came in the mail, yay, because it's a big newspaper, and I knew about which page the ones were on that I wanted to read it, and I would spend a lot of time reading the budget. It's always been interesting, and I send a lot of things for showers, for people that were sick, that kind of thing. Just talking about that, I should ask my parents for, I think it's a weekly one, maybe. I would say a weekly one, maybe bi-weekly, but I think I would say weekly. It would be interesting to just go and send people stuff from showers. That would be good. Anyways, I gotta try. You guys have questions? I am free to answer questions. I have nothing going on the rest of the evening, so I will be available for that. Yeah, so I think that will be a wrap for tonight. Thanks again, guys, for joining. And if you have a preference what day, let me know. And I will try to find a rhythm. It's just been really hard. But I hope you guys have a good week. And we will see you next time.